Sports Clash Radio with your hosts, Chad and JC Martin.
Welcome everybody to another edition of Sports Clash Radio with your host, Chad Martin, JC Martin. We're talking WWE. A few things we want to talk about. It's going to be a shorter podcast than what we normally have for the wrestling shows, but we want to talk briefly about Hell in a Cell. That was Sunday night. A few interesting things. I mean, it wasn't a bad pay-per-view, I didn't think, but was it one of their best? Really didn't think it was that either. Now, I thought the Hell in a Cell matches themselves were really well done.
Right.
I hated it for the women. Now, a lot of people are really dogging on the women's match. I enjoyed it. I thought those women put it all out there. I thought they did great. And the reason is because of what happened at the very tail end of the match with the tables not breaking. And I see that Sasha weighs $105,
right,
maybe. And, you know, the table just didn't break, and it was almost anticlimactic. I think people, when you think Hell in a Cell, you think big, huge spots to end it especially, but I didn't have a problem with it. I thought they worked their asses off. They did a great job out there. They were just back and forth. Now, I thought trying to redo the Mick Foley spot, you know, where Sasha gets put through a table by Charlotte and then they wheel her out in the neck brace. But if you saw the still image, you see that still image of her where she lands on the back of her shoulders and stuff through the table and stuff. In real-time speed, it really didn't look like that. When you saw the camera, the still image of it, it was like, oh, crap, man. But I loved the match. I thought it was good. Other than, like I said, that little spot right there at the end when they didn't go through the tables, that's probably where they messed it up. Like I said, I've seen a lot of people hating on the match. I didn't hate it, per se. Probably, in hindsight, it probably shouldn't have gone on last just for that reason. But I still didn't have a problem with that thing. Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, went pretty much like we thought it was going to go, how we talked about. They had a great match. I thought it was every bit of what we thought it should be. So, Roman Reigns, Rusev, you know, it was just a big beating. You know, they went pretty long, though. They had a pretty nice long match. Beat the crap out of each other. Finish wasn't surprising there. There wasn't a whole lot of surprises on this show, I don't think. Was there anything to you that really stuck out that was...
Not in the least. I mean, the show went down pretty much how we expected it to.
I mean, they did put the belt on Charlotte. You know,
yeah, I mean, that kind of caught me off guard. But
yeah, the switching of the titles back and forth, you know, again, I think it goes back to that whole thing. And I said this on the last week's show leading up to it on our preview show that it wouldn't surprise me if they put the belt on Charlotte just because it's the first for the women and they seem to have that thing with Charlotte, Ric Flair's daughter.
Yeah,
you know,
she's doing all the first.
Exactly. So I wasn't surprised in that regard, but I still think they should have kept the belt on Sasha. I do not like, we both, I think, have that same stance. Flipping the belt back and forth is stupid. I don't like it. It doesn't do the belt any favors, in my opinion.
It's gonna be, you know, 2 years from now, we're gonna look up and Sasha or Charlotte, one or the other, is gonna win the women's title, and all of a sudden there's 6-time women's champion or 7-time women's champion in the course of 3 years. You won that belt that many times. It also means you lost it that many times within the course of 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's as good as it looks equally as bad.
Yeah, that's right. So, overall, pay-per-view, not bad. I'd give it about a 7 maybe, because it wasn't awful or anything like that. It just wasn't super spectacular.
Of course, we got Survivor Series around the corner now.
That's the one I think everybody's getting geared up for anyway.
When I was a kid, I loved the Survivor Series matches. 5-on-5, elimination tag. I was like, that's a pretty cool idea for a match. I'm not excited about this.
See, I'm kind of the opposite. I really wasn't when they first announced it, but then I do like it because of the brand split that we're going to get to see the guys who don't normally get to watch each other, and at least that you're going to have when they were announcing our 5 guys against their 5 guys and our 5 women against their 5 women, our 5 tag teams against their 5. I was like, okay, I understood with the women and with the tag teams you were going to get all the tag teams pretty much,
right?
And with the women you're going to get all the women,
the
pretty
best
much.
ones,
exactly. The guys, I was worried that they weren't going to put some of your top stars because of championships and stuff like that. But to their credit, they're not really having the championship matches. They're making it that all their top guys are going to be heels and faces alike, are going to be for each brand facing off against one another. With the exception being Baron Corbin. I'm really hoping something changes where somebody else takes his spot in there, because I'm still not sold on him. He's just a charismatic black hole right now. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, as it sits right now for that 5-on-5 men's Survivor Series match, for Raw you've got Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, so Universal Champion Kevin Owens, United States Champion Roman Reigns, Chris Jericho, Braun Strowman, and another member to be determined, versus WWE Champion AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, and Baron Corbin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like you said, I'm not excited about Baron Corbin being in there. He doesn't do anything that impresses me. But likewise, same thing can be said about Braun Strowman. It's just an excuse for them to get another big guy into this match.
But I do like. I'm not a fan of. I say this, but I'm not a fan of battle royals on TV. And I say that because I love the Royal Rumble. It's one of my favorite pay-per-views, my favorite match styles. Because of its uniqueness. But traditionally on TV, it's just usually garbage. Everybody just gets thrown out real quick, and there's no fight. But I did like what they did with this one. I thought it was the one they had Monday night. It was actually one of the more entertaining things on Raw this week, because Raw overall I thought just blew chunks big time. But that was kind of fun to me, especially with the Sheamus Cesaro dynamic right there, and that made it fun. I like that they're now continuing to keep that as part of everything they do, and not just magically buddies. Like they were sort of trying to tease, and then immediately with their backstage promo. So what they're doing with them is actually a really good thing. But I thought it helped Braun Strowman out, because he should have won that match. He's a big, huge beast the way they've been promoting him. It would have been and I love Sami Zayn, but I think it would have been a tragedy if Sami Zayn would have won that match and gone out. Now I do believe
he could be the fifth man.
He really could. They could end up sticking him in there still. Or what I'm really hoping is he's the one that Dolph Ziggler wrestles for the cross-promotion Intercontinental title match.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Because I really love that they're doing that. I think
I do too.
That's what's going to be great about the Survivor Series, and about how it's going to be. Those are the kind of things that gets me excited about this year's Survivor Series. That main 5-on-5 match, the Dolph Ziggler match, I think is going to be fun. The tag team match is going to be so convoluted, it's going to be kind of crazy.
Right.
I'm still not sure how I feel about that.
Right now, for that 10-team Survivor Series match, the only team that Raw has announced is the New Day. That's it.
Yeah.
SmackDown has 4 of their 5 teams. SmackDown's going to have the tag team champions Heath Slater and Rhino, the Hype Bros, Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley, American Alpha, Chad Gable and Jason Jordan, and the Usos.
Yeah.
Jimmy and Jay Uso.
Basically all the tag teams.
Right. So that's going to be pretty much all the tag teams on SmackDown versus, and I'm sure that Gallows and Anderson, Enzo and Cass.
Yeah.
I think they'll put the Shining Stars in there for a comedy spot.
Yeah.
So, those guys can go in there and team up with the New Day on Raw. So I'm not too excited about that. But the women, we're looking at Charlotte, Bayley, Nia Jax, and 2 more to be determined for Raw versus Becky Lynch, Carmella, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Bella, and Naomi. So that one has potential. Just because we know the quality of workers that Charlotte and Bayley and Becky are. Really, those 3. I assume that Sasha Banks is going to be in this match for Raw.
Oh, I'm sure she will be.
And possibly Dana Brooke.
Yeah, when you look on SmackDown side, it's going to be ugly.
Alexa Bliss is slowly growing on me.
Oh, yeah, I like Alexa Bliss.
I just don't think she's that good. And I've never thought Nikki Bella was good. Or Brie Bella, for that matter. I just never thought they were good wrestlers. They got on my nerves.
Yeah, they were just pretty.
Naomi, I think Naomi has all the potential to really be a class act worker.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen, and of course part of it's been booking and the time allotted to her on television. but I haven't seen a great match out of her from a psychology standpoint. We know as an athlete she's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I want to see her put together a good psychological story within the ring.
Well, after what I saw on Monday Night Raw with Bayley and Nia Jax, I just wish Bayley would go to SmackDown. So at least they could do something with her and put her in a favorable position, because that was just garbage. Why are you, just jobbing her out that quick? I think that's crazy. I think she could have met her and Charlotte could do something fun together, but
and who's to say that they won't?
Yeah, but when you put Nia Jax, and I understand you're making Nia Jax the beast that she is, but it's not fun to watch. It's not entertaining. It's not something you tune in for and go, oh yeah, this is going to be stimulating and fun, because it's not. It hasn't been booked that way, so I don't care about that. I just don't care about it. And I love Bayley. I just think that it's another one of those things where some of these, it's like they're excited about bringing them to one of the brands, and they're like, okay, well,
right.
Now what? I hate that. Chris Jericho, on the other hand, I hope he wrestles forever. I love Chris Jericho. It's funny because it went for a period there where he would come back and he went, okay, he's doing this.
Right.
But now it's just like, oh my God, he has been just on. The whole list thing is just the best thing going. We talk about it every time, but it's hilarious.
There's so many wrestlers that they've tried to give these big over the top storylines or entrances or little gimmick props and stuff, and that just hasn't worked for him. Chris Jericho can come in there and he takes the smallest things and makes them great. Like he had the bright light up jacket, and so he wanted to get rid of that because he wanted to do something different. So they had Ambrose destroy that. Well, then he comes out there rocking the scarf. He has the little French mustache and goatee. He starts a new catchphrase. Stupid idiot. The man is 46 years old calling people stupid idiots,
Yeah, and it's over.
Right. It's catching on. And he does the whole quiet, and he builds it up before he finally yells it. But then he also had, like you said, the list. Something so simple as writing people's names on a piece of paper because you feel like they slighted you.
And the fans react just by the look on his face, or even when the opposing worker saying something, the face says something, and they're like, ooh, they already know that the list is coming.
Right.
That's what's beautiful. Jericho is such a genius when it comes to this business, and that's why I hope he wrestles forever, because I never get tired of watching Jericho do his thing, and not only that, but he can still go. He has had some awesome
He's had to change up his style some.
Yeah, but he's done that. DDP Yoga, man. It's changed his life. I love that.
So, what about the whole Goldberg spot to open up Raw?
I liked it. I hated it for going, that he slipped. I thought it was funny. And he even mentioned it. He didn't try to gloss over it and stuff like that.
Tweeted about it.
He did. He tweeted about it. Which, that I respect, because you have a lot of people when they mess up just try to gloss it over or don't answer questions about it. It's like, you know what?
Ring rust.
It happens. So what can you say to that?
But,
you can't say, okay, well, there you go. But I love the fact that they actually did the spear on Paul Heyman.
Right.
Because you never see anything really happen to Paul Heyman. They'll either do a punch on him sometimes, but mostly it's Lesnar saving him, or if it ever happens. So I was kind of surprised that they actually did that with Paul Heyman, because you don't see him take a bump.
Because now Brock's going to go crazy on Goldberg, and I'm still not going to care about this match at Survivor Series.
Probably not, but it's going to be another one of their nostalgic kind of things what they're trying to do. But if you want it to be nostalgic, then you bring The Rock back and do something with The Rock, because The Rock can get anybody over too, just way when they go in there.
But they're not bringing him back. But we did have some new news, rather. WWE is going to launch an entire 1 hour show just for the Cruiserweight division on the WWE Network.
Because that's about the only way they're going to get the exposure that they should have.
They're botching this whole thing on Raw.
They are.
And I don't know how much of that is creative, how much of that is Vince McMahon just not getting the style. Because every time that Vince McMahon's had the Cruiserweight division at some point, or the light heavyweight division, it hasn't been great.
And it's honestly where WCW in its heyday,
that's where they excelled.
They shined at that part of it. Those guys became famous through WCW in that Cruiserweight division they had. It's one of the few things you can look back at WCW and say, what was really good about it? That was great. That was when you had Malenko and those guys going. It was
Eddie
amazing.
Guerrero, Juventud Guerrero. Ultimo Dragon, Rey Mysterio at his in his much younger
Billy
days.
Kidman was in it.
Billy Kidman was
so
phenomenal.
many guys that were rocking that cruiserweight division.
So now this new show is going to be called 205 Live. It's going to be called 205 Live because, well, it'll probably be live. And 205 is the weight limit for the cruiserweight division, 205 pounds. So what I want to know is, or what I'm interested to see rather, is will they just keep the singular cruiserweight title for the show? Because they've done a lot of 6-man tags and standard tag team matches on Raw with the cruiserweights just to try to get the guys out there. Will they end up doing a cruiserweight tag team championship? It'd be interesting to see.
Oh, that would be interesting to see.
Because if it's going to have its own show with its own feuds and its own storylines, why not?
I would. I mean, you've got guys who can work that tag team style. That's pretty awesome.
Right.
They ought to capitalize on. I'm not a fan of spot monkeys and doing all these spots just to be acrobatic and do it. However, there has been some entertaining stuff that you can go on YouTube and look at some of these independent shows or some of the stuff that they're doing overseas. It's just it's fun and it's entertaining.
If they can make it feel like an indie show, it would be phenomenal.
It would be pretty great. It'd have its own style. That's what I love about NXT. I mean, it's different, and that's probably why you see some guys who aren't transitioning from NXT to Raw and stuff and SmackDown as well, because like the American Alpha, how over they were at NXT, and then they've really had to work at it, and they're coming along now.
But they're still doing that NXT stuff. They're doing the stuff that they did in front of 500 fans or 1,000 fans. They're trying to do that in front of 15, 16,000 fans.
It's a lot different.
It just doesn't come across that way.
Right.
It's got to be more grandiose. Everything has to be bigger when you're in front of that many people.
Exactly. So that was good news to hear. So I can't wait to see what they do, because I've been so disappointed on Raw with what they're doing with these guys. It's like, man, they're probably some of your better workers who can really go and do some entertaining stuff if you give them the time.
Speaking of the cruiserweights, did you catch T.J. Perkins versus Brian Kendrick this week on Raw?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
They had a really good match. I like that Brian Kendrick, in order to win the championship at Hell in a Cell, did such an old school heel move. Had nothing to do with being a cruiserweight or a high flyer or anything. He feigned a knee injury. TJ came over there to check on him. He headbutted him and locked him in the captain's hook, and TJ tapped out. I thought that was great. And then on Raw, TJ was hot about it. He came out there. He came out on the offensive early on, and they're going through the match and they're having their different moves and back and forth and spots and whatnot. But they do a spot where T.J. Perkins drapes Brian Kendrick with his arms over the top rope. Kendrick's inside the ring, arms over the top rope. T.J. goes to the top turnbuckle, jumps off to the outside apron with a Hurricane Rana, and flips Brian Kendrick to the outside. Well, when he does, the back of T.J. Perkins' head hits the ring apron, and he just collapses on top of himself. I thought he might have really just legitimately hurt himself.
I tell you, those guys were
brutal.
Some of that stuff. I mean, there's no soft part out there like that.
But
that's painful.
They do that move, and then they kind of go at it a little bit on the outside. The ref gets to the count of 8. TJ slides in. Brian Kendrick halfway slides in. He only gets like the top half of his body in the ring. His lower half is still out there. So the ref keeps counting. He hits 8. He hits 9. Once he hits 9, Brian Kendrick just shoves himself out of the ring. He's like, well, can't lose my belt this way.
No, that's right.
So, I thought T.J. Perkins would keep the belt at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised that Brian Kendrick got it. But I think having T.J. Perkins chase Brian Kendrick for this belt is the best call, because Brian's been in this business long enough. I mean, TJ's been in it forever, too.
Yeah.
He's been wrestling for 18 years. But Brian Kendrick has exposure on this level, on this stage of WWE, and he knows how to tell a story how WWE wants a story told.
Exactly.
And so he can really help bring T.J. Perkins up and elevate him to the next big cruiserweight superstar.
There you go. I think that'd be awesome. Can't wait to see that. What was it? Have they announced a launch date for that?
I think it's sometime towards the end of November.
Still coming soon, which is even better. Sooner they get those guys on the show and do that, I think it's going to be the best thing. Well, guys, we got to get out of here because we have the end of the World Series to catch.
Right.
We tried to squeeze these podcasts in as fast as we could today, so probably not our best, but
been keeping up with it on my phone.
Yeah, you see our eyes cutting down trying to watch these scores and what's happening with it right now. Because right now I think it's 5-3 Cubs is the time we're ending this podcast. So, guys, we're out here. We appreciate you tuning in.
Nope, 6-3 Cubs now.
Well, there you go. See, refreshed his phone, glanced over, and there it was. Follow us at patreon.com/SportsClash. Sports Clash Radio on Facebook. Sports Clash Rad on Twitter. Leave your comments in the comment section of YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like, share it on Facebook. Anywhere you can, tell people about it. Help us get the word out. And not only that, our SoundCloud is that whole thing is about to go live. I'm updating everything and kind of redoing it because I didn't like the way it was initially set up. So I'm going to be uploading all of our old audio podcasts. Some of those you may want to listen to. Some of them will be outdated. But then we'll have some standalone wrestling stuff, wrestling stories, our NFL stuff, college stuff, story-specific things that we do, like the Dak Prescott, Tony Romo debate.
Right.
That's all the rage in the NFL right now. Just different things like that we'll be talking about and things in the future. Basketball season just started. Lots of stuff going on there. World Series. We may even do a show next week talking a little bit about the World Series. What's happening, because it's historic. I mean, it really is. These two teams, 68 years, 108 years since either one of them won a World Series, and 108 years.
Man.
That is ridiculous. That is...
108 for the Cubs, 68 for the Indians.
Yeah, the whole thing's crazy. It's coming down to which was your favorite movie to watch as a child. You know, what was your favorite movie to watch growing up? Was it Major League?
Or Rookie of the Year.
There you go. So which side of the fence do you fall on? Guys, we appreciate it. We got to get out here. We got to go tune in and watch the rest of this game. Check you soon.